he achieved a level at Chester that perhaps the rest of us aspired to over the years. And Ryan Moore rode next time. He said, "I've never seen a horse go 4 wide round Chester and still win."
Is there anyone you like to beat?
Generally.
You had such a fantastic season last year, even by your standards. Has that changed how the start of this year feels at all?
Yeah, I think, when you're going well, you're able to sort of not lay down the law, but you're able to say, this is what we're going to do, and people will run with you. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter whether it's a 70 rated horse or a 100 rated horse, you're able to plan for them in a way that you think will suit the horse best. And people are unlikely to ask you when you're going well if that's the right decision. That's just the nature of it. Yeah, I mean, I think I probably enjoy it as much or more than I ever did. It's always difficult to enjoy it when you're right in the heat of it. I think I've enjoyed the close season perhaps more than I've ever enjoyed a year, because you're getting sent then on the back of last year. You're getting sent really nice stock, and that's always a pleasure. Do
you think that's translated through the team? Do you think everyone here has enjoyed it?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. It trickles down. They enjoy the financial benefits as well. Inevitably, they've all benefited in that sense. But I think so. Yeah, I mean, I think that you're able to recruit better, and you're able to recruit well. People want to come and want to be here. Makes for a better atmosphere all the time. Yeah.
And how about the horses training this time of year? Especially to maybe someone that's never been into a racing yard before. We see the horses out on the track. What would a horse be? What's their schedule this time of year to get them into the swing of things for the season?
Well, you're doing a lot of conditioning work for a start. You're getting a lot of good base under them. Really, from the beginning of January onwards, you're putting work into them, miles into their legs, if you like, so that when they're ready to go quicker, or you think they're ready to go quicker, they actually are, And hopefully, there will be a lot of horses here who we'd be waiting for them to change their coats this time of year, get the summer coat through, and then we'll kick on with them. There will be a lot of horses like that. You're hoping that this A horse couldn't get out this week because he wasn't quite ready, but he will be next week. There's a lot of that too.
You had a lot of success with fillies last year. Was that by design or just how it happened?
For a long time, we've been sent a lot of nice fillies, because we had our best ones were fillies. We've always had a number of fillies that, who looked nice on paper and stood up, and hopefully they would develop into racehorses. And so it was, we did have a lot of good fillies last year, and hopefully we will again this.
Do you train them any differently?
Yes, I would. Yeah, I think they take more working out. They take, you have to. The signals are more subtle, perhaps, with fillies, and so you have to work harder at working out what they require, particularly the middle distance fillies. I think because, you'd go skint backing middle distance fillies on their homework. You wouldn't pick them. So you have to work harder at it, I think, probably.
Maybe Blue Stocking, we joked, didn't we, that you can laugh now in hindsight that she was beaten in a listed race at Chester, an ARC winner. We're pleased to have had an ARC winner through the ranks at Chester. You were probably not so pleased when she was beaten, but that was maybe an ever-improving journey that she went on, wasn't it? She just kept getting better and better.
Yeah, she didn't win a race at 3. It's difficult to believe now. She kept running well. She was second in 2 Group 1s, hit the front in the Irish Oaks, hit the front at Chester. Didn't quite get to the front in the Champions Fillies and Mares race. It was this time last year. It was a sort of frustration because she looked home and hosed a couple of times. the only thing about Chester, I say, in hindsight, she's beaten by a good horse who really likes it round Chester as well. Maybe it wasn't so suitable for her, you know. Yeah, I mean, what she was one of those rare beasts who got better with training, with work. You know, her fast work improved as she got older. That's kind of unusual. Most horses go the other way, and she was also a filly who didn't need much fast work. By the time her 4-year-old career came through, she put it in every morning, so I never really had to do that much with her. And in that made life straightforward. And because she ended up running every month last year from May to October, inevitably, you know, I was always trying to just keep her in the right place throughout and not ask too many questions at home, just keep her landing her there right. And of course, you know, she went 3 weeks from the Ebor Festival to the Prix Vermeil, and then another 3 weeks back to the Arc. You know, it's quite difficult. It's not difficult to tread the line, but you have to be on the case all the time. And you know, fillies either blossom in the spring, and she did, in the autumn, and she did, or they don't. And you know, so she helped me out along the way as well. You know,
it paid off in the end.
Yeah, it did.
You mentioned Chester might not have suited her, but how does Chester sometimes fit into a horse's schedule then? Is it, I mean, you target some races to win them, equally some are trials, some are maybe educating for horses?
Yeah, I mean, down the years, I was thinking about this before you came, down the years, I've often, you know, Chester, whether it be the May Festival or later in the year, I've often not specifically planned to run there. It just suddenly gone, oh, that'll fit him or her. I always remember, you know, Barry Hills was the sort of target, not the target to aim at, but he achieved a level at Chester that perhaps the rest of us aspired to over the years. And I always remember him saying, you know, you've got to take a horse that travels well around there. It's no point taking a horse that doesn't travel well to Chester. And whenever we're placing horses to run there, I've always had that in the back of my head. It's good advice. And if you start there, and then everything else will fit into that. You know, we took some big horses there down the years to go around there. I remember we had a filly called Yes Yes for Juddmonte, and I'd been training for them about 4 years. And I'd had a Royal Ascot winner for them, but I hadn't had a stakes winner for them. And I sent this enormous filly round to Chester by Camelot as well, funny enough. And John Egan wrestled her around Chester. You know, John was a great tactician around there, and he managed to wrestle her around there, and she won. And Ryan Moore rode the next time. He said, "I've never seen a horse go 4 wide round Chester and still win." So yeah, she was strong travelling filly again, and so it worked. So yeah, we've had a lot of luck there down the years. And
Tell us about Forest Fairy then. When did the plan for her crop up to go to Chester? Why did she present herself as a Chester Oaks winner?
She was, there was a lot of chat about her because she'd only won a maiden or novice on the all-weather, and we were sort of just thinking she might have to run at the Greenham meeting to just get a bit more experience in under her belt. She's a very light frame filly, and so in the end we decided that her work was good enough. What she was doing here at home on the grass was good enough to go straight there. And I thought because she'd gone around Wolverhampton and travelled really well, it was an easier question to ask her than, as it turned out, than to go to Lingfield, you know. And she'd learned just as much. And it was great. He gave her a very good ride that day. You know, she had to be tough to go through the gap, and the sort of narrow gap that appeared at the top of the straight. And in the end, she won well. But it was. I don't think we felt we were going to run until quite late. You know, it wasn't. It was just I think the ground conditions were, which he needed a bit of juice, being by Wildegeist. It was definitely that was required as well. So it was a really good fit in the end.
Do you ever look at stallion course form when race planning, or is that too much of a stretch? Would you ever, you have a filly or a colt by a stallion that's performed well at a certain track?
Yeah, I trained for a couple of people who've watched all of that stuff very closely, and I remember, he was telling me one day that certain sire stock were better on Topeta than they were on Polytrack.
Wow.
So that's really, isn't it? That's really taking it to the nth degree. But I think I'd be more cognizant of ground than anything else. But occasionally, I suppose that example is slightly extreme, but it's the best one I can think of.
And how about this year? I know you won't know exactly horses' plans yet, as you've explained, but are there any races that are on your mind at Chester, particularly for the May Festival?
Yeah, I hope very much we'll have one or two for the Vars and the Cheshire Oaks. Probably not for 2-year-old races, but for a couple for the 3-year-old handicaps as well. So, I mean, I hope that we'll take a team. We'll have a couple of entries. We have a couple of entries in the Chester Cup as well.
And how about yourself? Do you enjoy your trips to Chester when you get up there?
Yeah, good fun. I normally go the first day, and then my wife Izzy normally goes and enjoys the last couple of days. But yeah, it's great to catch up with. I've got plenty of friends up there, so it's great. And you see, it's perhaps the first opportunity to see, northern trainers as well. I haven't seen all winter. It's a few of them are good pals, and so we catch up with them as well, which is great.
Is there a bit of that when you'll go to a northern track, those closer to that track should be more hospitable to you, and vice versa, northern trainers coming further south?
Yeah, I hope so. I hope so. We have people to stay for some of the southern meetings, and always trying to enjoy bumping into sort of like Sir Richard Fahey and Nigel Tinkler, Kevin Ryan, all those guys.
Is there anyone you like to beat?
Generally, Andrew Balding. Apart from that, Richard Hannon is my other neighbour. Those two, they'll do. Yeah, exactly.
Neighbourly rivalry.
Exactly. Not really, Well, we always say Haggis is always in the way.
Really?
Yeah. Places his horses very well. He is always in the way. But yeah, there's a few. Yeah.
Just going back to the training of horses, because we've been talking to various trainers, and obviously with a focus on Chester, sharp track, you need to jump well. Is there anything you do at home to get horses to break well, or is it a case of the horse will learn as they go?
No, I mean, we try and have, get it all done in one session at the stalls, and identify the ones who are quick away to go to the sharp track. We'll handle the sharper tracks, so it depends on the individual, really. I always find with stalls work, you can over-egg the pudding if you're not careful. So,
anything you're doing differently this year? With sights set on targets? I'm not sure if you make specific targets or...
No, not really. We've done quite a lot of work to the place, the surfaces, training surfaces this year, and change them, but we've had to relay gallops, and we've had to, we're always trying to look for something that will fit better. It's the nature of training in a place that's not out of the centres. You're always trying to make it fit a little bit better. So yeah, we've done plenty of that this autumn, and you're always tweaking things generally, aren't you? So we've done plenty. We'll keep doing that, I hope.
Bar the Leeds United book on the coffee table, what's your favourite bit of memorabilia or trophy that sits in the house?
That's a good question. I haven't got a painting of blue stocking, but I suppose the one that always changed everything. There's a picture of Look Here over there on the wall, who won the Oaks in 08, and was our first Group 1 winner, and as well. And she ridden by a really good pal of mine, and Seb Sanders, he's still a mate of mine, and she was the one who changed everything. So I always have a soft spot for that picture.